Hey there, Chika Samuels here, your fertility and lifestyle coach. Today we're discussing a very interesting topic, and I've coined it the 5 critical mistakes that hold you back on your fertility journey. I'd love to start with one of my fertility quotes, and it goes like this: the price of inaction is far greater than the cost of making a mistake. I couldn't agree more. We once did a survey with my Soprecious parents, regarding what critical mistakes they wish someone had warned them about before they made them. And we received about 1,000 responses. And these are people that have been trying to conceive, to take home a healthy baby for several years. And they have also had some failed fertility treatments under their belt. So they've been through quite a lot. And we found some clear trends, which we have condensed and categorized into these 5 critical mistakes. These appear here in no particular order, because in my experience, these mistakes are relevant for different people at different times of their fertility journey. Although they are all made at some point once a person has been on this journey long enough. It's also important to note and acknowledge that while these critical mistakes are common to many couples, everybody's emotional, physical, and spiritual experience of the fertility journey is very different, and this is what I've found. So these 5 mistakes are always underpinned by multiple critical factors that are often completely overlooked or completely misinterpreted. So critical mistake number 1: stressing about stressing. Not surprising, this is one of the biggest issues, that we see in our practice. By stressing, I often tell people, we are decreasing our chances of conception, because psychological response mechanisms are in play. Your fight, flight, or freeze, mechanism are all hardwired into, our DNA for survival as humans. So there is a clear need to manage stress that is associated with the fertility journey, as well as the impact it has on your relationship with your spouse. There are both, positive and very negative ways to cope with the heightened stress, that the couples have to deal with in this trying period of their time. For example, some choose alcohol and or cigarettes as a momentary depressing or decompressing mechanism. Unfortunately, this kind of strategy also keeps the couple infertile. So while working to overcome infertility and miscarriage, it is vital to choose your decompressing mechanisms wisely. Let's say that smoking is your form of, stress relief. Smoking, whether actively or passively, has been proven widely to negatively impact every stage of male and female reproduction, as well as the embryonic development. It decreases the woman's fertile reproductive life by up to 5 years, bringing on early menopause, and it drastically decreases a man's ability to make healthy sperm, increasing his risk of testicular failure. Not to mention that IVF is much more likely to fail for smokers than for those that are not smoking, regardless of other, minor critical factors that could be in play. So similarly, if you and your couple's stress release is alcohol, you as a couple will substantially decrease your chances of conception, increasing your risk of implantation failure and miscarriage. Although safety guidelines have been adjusted over the years, there is really no real safe alcohol consumption and smoking limits when it comes to trying for a child or taking home a healthy baby. Each of these toxicants have similar negative impacts on the quality of the egg and the sperm. So effectively managing stress is vital in terms of optimal fertility. And in our fertility coaching programs, we teach you effective ways to do this and how you can put stress back in your area of influence. So let's look at the second critical mistakes that couples always encounter. Critical mistake number 2 is forgetting that fertility is a team sport. It's a huge mistake that I see very often, even in conventional medical practice, that they exclude men from the fertility journey. Too few, a handful of fertility treatment options actually support men appropriately or even take into account how they are feeling, their stress levels, what they are doing to improve their health. Particularly earlier on in their journey, couples hardly understand how mission critical it is for both partners to engage and do their best to optimize their chances of taking home a healthy baby. Oh my goodness. Most men don't even get to be asked to do blood tests as a part of their, fertility workup. But the worst case is when, as I've seen in my practice numerous times, a couple has experienced more than, 2 years of infertility or repeated miscarriage, and up until then, and up until when we start working together, they have never had a semen analysis, something as basic as that. It's an important thing to remember that a semen analysis, like every other result, is a snapshot of a moment in time. Biology is constantly changing based on immediate and long-term exposure. Even a severe case of a flu can wipe out quality sperm for months on end, and infections are only one tiny, minor factor. Keep a finger on the pulse, as so to speak, when monitoring infertility or fertility over time. If your partner's sperm was fine 6, 12, or 72 months ago, or maybe he had a baby with the baby mama in the past, it doesn't mean it's fine and it can still impregnate today. It's utterly funny, that men are often left out in this side of the fertility equation, because these guys are 50% of the said equation. And even if we're to, slice it up differently and say, as is often said, that 40% of infertility is due to female factor, and 40% is due to male factor, and 20% is due to unexplained, combination, they still contribute to 50% of that 20%. So in my experience and in my practice, men want to contribute. They want to do their part. Once they are educated about the absolute importance of their role, men want to be part of the solution. And if you're, a man listening to this, you have just proven it. I salute you. Men often feel helpless on the fertility journey precisely because they would like to be able to help and they don't just know how. And the medical practitioners really don't have time for them. They give more attention to the women. So typically, health givers ensure that the male stays disconnected from the process through lack of education, as well as, through excessive focus placed on the women issues. So the men become a detached spectator of the whole process instead of being an active and valuable participant who can add immense physical and emotional value to the entire process. So as well, men typically have a strong need to understand details. They love details. They ask critical questions and they see proven information. So a lot of times I tell my women, let the men watch my videos, because the questions that they are asking, you may not have the answers. But when they watch me say it, they will understand that it has answers to their questions. They don't want to simply be told what to do or what to believe. Don't get me wrong, women can be like that too. I can be like that, but if men are not engaged from the beginning, they often, disconnect from the whole process altogether. And they're just there to just bring the sperm and pay the bills. That is why our approach in the Soprecious, fertility coaching program is very different. We want to ensure that both partners are engaged and working together as a team. So we focus first on the vital education that helps the couples understand the why and the how, to support, action, and to also develop realistic expectations around outcomes. So engaging both couples, enhancing communication, improving the way, the couples work together as a team on this journey is absolutely critical to its long-term success. So my precious parents, tell us that this approach that we use always helps, further consolidate the solid foundation every family needs. And for this, I'm very, very grateful. So let's look at critical mistake number 3, lack of knowledge. My people perish because of lack of knowledge. The number one reason couples become stuck on their fertility journey is that they don't know what they don't know. If you're trying for a child and you're watching this, it's likely you're experiencing the I don't know what I don't know syndrome. When couples come to me and they say, We've tried everything. We've drank abo. We have done the fertility treatments. We have done something that seems like this before, and nothing has worked. I reply, you haven't fully implemented the Soprecious 7-step birth fertility intervention methodology yet. So you haven't yet tried everything. The reason they are saying this is because they have hit their rock bottom. They have hit the limits of their metaphorical ceiling of knowledge, ceiling of what they think is the highest form of knowledge. And as Albert Einstein said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking, with the same mentality we used when we created them. So to solve a problem, we must grow. You must learn to unlearn. You must push through your limits with purpose, with certainty, and with self-belief. Always asking better questions. The problem is that people are asking the wrong questions. Better questions like, how else? Who else? What else? Sometimes you may need a break to catch your breath and refocus, but only you can decide when and where to stop and pursue a different path. And this is why I love the Japanese principle of Kaizen, the constant, improvement. We use it a lot in manufacturing. It says that if you are not constantly improving, when you hit a wall and you stay there and you're banging your head against the wall, my favorite method for problem solving is to call for reinforcement. This is the time I summon all the metaphoric, bulldozer to clear the path, reimagine things, then build again from beginning to baby. So for me, calling reinforcement involves finding a guide, finding a coach, finding a mentor. In your case, finding the right fertility coach, someone that has created what you want and or has a proven track record in helping others do so. Okay, so I hired them, bulldozers to help me level out the mountain. For couples on the fertility journey, there is a lack of knowledge in so many levels that I find, from simply not knowing what questions to ask, to not knowing how to best proceed, or to whom to even turn to help. Sadly, I find that over the years, I've witnessed this mistake cost a lot of people reasonable chance of having a baby altogether when they get to the point where nothing really can be done anymore and we can't take them on the program. So people who had been proactive could have had a very different result. People who choose to do the bare minimum, and remain, complacent in terms of taking charge of their fertility, while they are telling themselves that they are doing everything, but ultimately deep down, thinking someone else will rescue them, not making it their business to educate themselves on what they require to transform their results. These are the people, those who are most unaware. They think that even though they have not gotten pregnant, they have had their bases covered, and they have had their ducks on the roll, and they're already doing all the right things because, they are already doing all that they have been recommended, or they're already taking all the supplements, or they're eating well, or they are managing their stress, and they are doing all that. They fail to understand that it's not just enough to do what everyone else who is getting the results they want does. I address this, in our classes when we're talking about epigenetics, and this addiction syndrome. We teach that in our fertility classes, our coaching, programs. They fail to realize that they are wasting precious time that they will never get back. So now is the time for action based on proven, effective knowledge. And this, video you're watching is a good start, but on its own, it's not enough for many couples. Those who complete, our programs, are the ones that find the results, and these are the ones that we see testifying on our, platforms. And we make these assessments available so that we can, when we do our pre-assessment, before we engage, we will pre-assess if we can even help you And we make these assessments, procedures available so that we can gain, precise understanding on what you need most, what specifically is not working in your situation, what you need to do about it. It's a very, concise, personalized strategy that takes, a couple's entire situation into consideration. And that's, why our approach is very different, as well as a personalized path for the individuals, undergoing solo reproduction. So by the time someone has gone through the entire process, with our team, with our medical experts that will partner with, you would leave there understanding what's really getting in your way, specifically what your minor critical factors are and what you need to do. People also discover during this process that we run with them what they don't know. And this is typically why they come to us. They want to get to the root cause of the issue and have it addressed as directly as possible. They also learn that we must address the body's, needs from within the limitation of the biological frameworks. Okay? We cannot change the fact that biologically, there are some things we cannot change. We've not been able to hack biology yet. For example, it takes a woman's egg 8 months to mature. We can't change the fact that major improvements to sperm parameters often take as much as 3 sperm cycles to fully develop. Still, there is much more that can be done in a relatively short frame of time to transform a couple's entire situation, given the right strategy. So the fourth critical mistake is wasted resources. Plenty people waste their time continuing to do the same thing over and over again, year on year, without a result. Carry on thinking that it will all turn out okay. Remember the Albert Einstein's quote that I shared earlier. Don't waste your time. Almost 50% of everyone surveyed in the survey that I talked about, talked about time, talked about money, talked about the cost of the heartache invested till date without results, saying, if only I had known there was another way. So in Soprecious coaching program, one of our couples who experienced over 11 failed IVF cycles, and this is to the tune of about $12,000 to $15,000 per cycle dollars. That amounts to a deposit on a very nice house by the sea. But after undertaking the Soprecious 7-step birth fertility intervention methodology, they ended up conceiving naturally. Can you imagine that? So it's about taking the right action, doing whatever it takes that makes the difference. Because some people ask, for how long do I have to do this Soprecious protocol? For how long? For as long as it takes to make the difference, because you need to give your body time to repair. So the rule of the thumb is don't waste time anymore. Don't waste money anymore. Don't waste heartache anymore. So critical mistake number 5, regrets. The final survey, the final mistake those surveyed spoke of is regrets. The regret of not giving it their all, not taking the charge, of their situation and making their own choices. The regret of allowing decisions to be made for them. Many survey responders said they regret rushing into IVF only to discover it wasn't the only option, or that there were things that needed to be done or could have been done to improve the chances of those IVFs that failed before the thousands of dollars were wasted. Again, I have nothing against artificial reproduction. I have nothing against it. To the contrary, I see it as God-sent technology for some couples, who would never have been able to conceive otherwise. And we support many couples through IVF, ICSI, IUI journeys. The issue I have, my relative, is that assisted reproductive techniques in general are treated as silver bullets, magic bullets, that will fix the problem with minimal effort. I don't need to do anything. I can drink all the, diet, junk soda or diet junk food. I'm not exercise. I'm not doing anything about increasing my vitamin levels and all that with minimum effort, rather than a useful tool that it is to aid nature while it is absolutely necessary. So once a couple's minor critical factors are comprehensively and effectively addressed, IVF becomes maximized. Trust me, there are no shortcuts. There is no way around this fact. We work to ensure that every couple we serve can one day look back, at their fertility journey and know that they have done their best. That even if it didn't happen for whatever reason, it wasn't because they didn't put in the work or put in the effort. That is, what we want them to go to bed with every night. In this way, they can journey on without regrets. Above all, want to ensure that, they see considerable improvement in their quality of life, which is very, very critical as a result of the holistic treatment, irrespective of the outcome. So your best might be different from day to day. But as long as you give it your all, whatever you choose and wherever you choose to draw the line in terms of having a baby, you will never have any regrets. Some would, pursue the objective of having a baby only if they can conceive naturally. Some will consider IVF or ICSI or IUIs. Some will choose donor egg, donor sperm, donor embryo, surrogacy, even adoption. Those who will truly do everything, do so because their outcome is a baby. No matter how that little being arrives in their lives. So the key is to know that you have left no stone unturned when it comes to your heart's containment. I know the difference, that we share in our programs. And I know that they make a huge difference for the couples who have been struggling to create their family dream. And that is why we do what we do. This is why, I have decided, to dedicate my time to making real changes for people, in this journey that are going through what I went through. Revolutionizing the way, couples are cared for is only the beginning. There is so much power in taking charge, in doing what it takes, in finding your strength. And I want that difference in people's lives to be my legacy. Change can only come from doing what it takes. Trust me, let no one kid you. If you want me and my team on your side, in your corner, holding your hand from baby to beyond, click the link below to join the next fertility coaching program coming right up to take advantage. Use the number below for inquiries, and I look forward to working with you from baby to beyond.